Hello, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving week in the United States. So happy that you could join me tonight. Let's go ahead and give everybody just a couple of minutes here to get on and for me to find myself so I can see your comments and see who's joining me tonight. Okay, let's make sure we turn the sound off before we start that, though, so we don't get double. All right, be sure to jump on and let me know you're here. If you're new to my channel, please let me know that. I'd love to give you a special shout out. And then we will wait a couple of minutes and then we will start our projects for tonight. We'll go over just a couple of little things. We're going to be using the St. Nicholas bundle. This bundle is a cling rubber mount set, and it has 21 dies, and this is currently on the last chance list. It is not discounted, but it is while wait a minute, it is while supplies last. Well, the bundle looks to be discounted 10% to $30.60. All right, so you can get a bundle discount by saving. You can save 10% on the bundle. Hello, Cynthia. Thank you so much for joining. So this has gone live today. There are a few things that have already sold out. So if you want something, get it sooner rather than later. Everything on this list, 2 pages, is while supplies last or January 3rd, whichever is the earliest. Okay, so if you're on my email list, you already got that emailed out to you. Again, this is the bundle we're going to be using tonight. We're going to make 2 projects, 1 card, and then we're going to make a 3D project that I think turned out pretty cute. All right, let's go ahead and jump in and get started. I know Laura and Jennifer will not be joining us tonight. They're in Disneyland having fun. Okay, so we're going to start with a card. I've done all the coloring for this card already. There are a lot of Stampin' Blends. There was a lot of coloring, and I didn't want you to have to sit here and watch me color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up my blends so that you can see what I've used. And then if you like, you could take a screenshot, or of course, these will also be listed on my blog. The card will be on the blog on Thursday, and the 3D project will be on the blog on Saturday. Okay, so there you are. I think you're still missing this one because I can't, let's see. Let's go like this. Hang on. I can't quite get them all in the screen. I used a lot of stamping blends. Okay, there we go. Now you can see them all. There is the list of stamping blends that I used. Okay, so in addition to all of those stamping blends, we're going to use the cottage, excuse me, the cottage wreath dies. And we are using these 2 pieces here. And I've already cut those. I cut this one that looks like it's doubled in old olive cardstock, and this single piece that matches in granny apple green. Okay, so just a scrap of those. Those are already cut. We need the stylish shapes dies. We're going to use this little banner, and of course, if you don't have this, you could just cut your piece of cardstock to approximately 2 3/4 by 5/8. Okay, but I have them in my stash and I think they're a good addition to anyone's craft room. So we're going to use those. And then of course we're going to use the St. Nicholas bundle. All right, so we're going to start with a thick basic white cardstock layer. This is a half a sheet of cardstock, 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the center at 4 1/4. Okay, there's my scraps of old olive and granny apple green. You also need a scrap of cherry cobbler, and that is for the bow that we're going to be using. And of course, I've already cut that. I did all the die cutting to save us a bunch of time. So here are those pieces. Here is our St. Nicholas that I colored with that list of Stampin' Blends. That's already cut and die cut. So we've got this die cut right here, which cuts out that Santa Claus. Okay, and then we're also using this die cut on this card, and that is to go with the gingerbread man, the candy cane, and the spice cider. We are using the spice cider on the inside, but these two are going on the outside. So I have already stamped and cut those as well. So I wanted those colored. I didn't want you to have to sit and watch me. We've got a piece of the Joy of Christmas Designer Series paper, also on the last chance list. And this paper, the one that we're using, is this pattern, and it has a gingham shaded spruce on the back. This is gorgeous paper. I'm going to be using just a little piece of this later, the same piece actually. So here are those pieces, so you can see what they look like. Very nice paper. I love the pebbled path wood look on the back of that as well. Okay, so let's shove these back in here and let's get going. Our second project's going to take a bit of time to assemble, and this one actually the assembly takes a little bit of time too. So let's get on that. We're going to go ahead and mount our Designer Series paper to our card base. And this piece is, did I make this 4 by 5 1/4? Yep, I did. I was thinking there for a minute I went a little bit wider, but I didn't. It's a standard layer, 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so we've got that. Okay, then we're going to take and layer our, hi Tracy, thanks for joining. We're going to take and layer these two pieces together. These cottage wreaths, these dies have a coordinating stamp set. These are called country wreaths dies, and the cottage wreath stamp set that coordinates. I'm not using the stamp set tonight, but it coordinates beautifully with these dies. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a little bit of liquid glue. You could use adhesive sheet on this, but because it's intricate, I don't like to do that. I prefer using my fine tip glue bottle filled with Tombow and just making it work that way. Okay, if it gets a little noisy tonight, guys, I have Abigail and Nathan here for overnight. They're starting their Thanksgiving vacation, and they requested to come stay with Grams. So you might hear a little noise in the background. I told them they need to be quiet, but you know how children are. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to add this wreath now to our card. And we're going to do that with a little bit of liquid glue. Okay. And we're going to put that about right here. I'm putting it over to the right quite a bit. The idea of this is to make it look like we've got a wreath on the wall. So we're going to add that. Now I'm going to take my bow and I'm going to add my wink of Stella because I want my bow to be sparkly. And you know me. You've been following me for any length of time. We must have wink of Stella. It's my favorite glitz. Okay, so we'll do that. I'm going to let that dry for just a minute. And then I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to set this here. I'm going to put that on with glue dots. And they don't always work if it's wet. So I'm going to take my little gingerbread boys. I colored that with a pecan pie light Stampin' Blend. And I've done 3 of them. And we're going to put those here. And then we're going to add some little candy canes. Those are colored with cherry cobbler Stampin' Blends. Okay, so let's get our glue dots. And let's go ahead and add these to our card. Now the candy canes, I recommend that you put the glue dot at the tip, the curvy point. Otherwise the glue dots are too big. Okay. So we'll just put that. And be careful taking this off the backing paper. Sometimes those glue dots really stick, and if you're not careful, then you'll rip your die cut, and we definitely don't want to do that. Get that, and this, like so. And then with my bow, I'm going to put a glue dot right in the center of that knot. And then I'm going to carefully pick that up. And I'm going to add a second glue dot right over the top of the first one so that I have a double glue dot. This gives me a little extra height without adding a lot. And now I've got my wreath all together. And then we're going to take some Stampin' Dimensionals and we're going to put it on our Santa Claus. And I'm going to put these right down the center and one right there on his stack of gifts. Okay, we'll put St. Nicholas right over here. So it looks like he's standing there next to the wreath. Okay, and then we're going to get a scrap piece of white, which I have right here, and some real red ink. And we're going to take the sentiment from St. Nicholas with joy, peace, and love. And we're going to stamp that out. Okay. And then this is where that stylish shape die comes in. Okay. So this is a tight fit, but if you line these up just like this, then when you run it through the machine, it will look like this. Okay, so we have our sentiment. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put just a little curve in the center, and then I'm going to turn it over and put a curve the opposite direction on either end. I'm going to grab another one of those Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to put one right in the center here. And I'm going to take my liquid glue and I'm going to put it right on the end where those ends dip backwards. Remove that backing and bring back in our card. And we're just going to set that down like so. Okay, and there is the front of our card finished. Now we can add some festive pearls to this. So let's grab those. Okay. And for this, let's see. Let's go with these ones that look, I'm going to throw some silver ones on here just to give it a little bit of bling. Okay. And there is the finished front of our card. Hope you like that. Now for the inside, I've taken another piece of that Joy of Christmas Designer Series paper in another pattern, and I cut a 1/2 inch strip by 3 5/8. This piece is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8, so 3 5/8 by 1/2 inch. I colored the hot spice cider, and then this sentiment is in Real Red from the St. Nick stamp set. We're going to add that to our card inside. Now you could do all this on the inside of the card because it's already white, but I like to do it this way. And then the recipient can easily remove this piece and send it forward if they want to use this card again. Okay. And then for the envelope, I've added one of those spice cider die cuts on the front and the coordinating 2 1/4 by 6 inch piece of Designer Series paper Joy of Christmas on the flap. Okay, thank you, Tracy. I sat down and figured this card out yesterday, and I was kind of happy with the way it ended up turning out. So, okay, so let's move on to our 3D project. And get those. And then I just take all these little pieces that I have left over, and in my stamp case, I keep one of the clear medium envelopes, and I just take those extra pieces and store them in the stamp set, and when I need them, they're ready to go. Okay, now let's go ahead and bring in our other box. This project doesn't take a lot of supplies. We're not coloring. We're not even stamping on this project. We just need a bunch of small scraps of paper, plus the project base, and a couple of Stampin' Blends. And that's it. Okay, So you need a scrap of white, and from this white with the St. Nicholas dies, you will take this piece that looks like bricks and you're going to cut that out. And of course, I've already done that. So we've got that one. From a piece of pebbled path, you don't need a piece bigger than this. You'll cut out this fireplace piece and this fireplace piece. Okay. Keep the inside of this. This will actually cut into two pieces, and I'll show you that in a minute. You want to keep that inside piece. You're going to need it. From a piece of early espresso, you're going to cut out these logs. Okay. From a scrap piece of white, we're going to cut out the flames, and that's a one die, but it cuts out two pieces. Okay, so you just need a small scrap for that. Now, if you cut your pieces into small scraps, you can get all of these pieces that you need on one pass through the die cut machine. So from this piece of the Joy of Christmas, we're going to cut one of these. Okay, cut one of those, and you also need to cut one out of just regular pecan pie. This DSP is not sturdy enough for what we're using this piece for, so you need a backing. Okay. And then you'll need to cut this set of stockings. You need to cut it in cherry cobbler and in crumb cake. Or you could just use it this way, but I wanted my string not to be red, so I'm going to use the crumb cake to change the string color. Okay, so both of those. All right. So there are the pieces that you'll need to cut. Then you need a piece of pebbled path cardstock, and this piece is 4 1/4 by 5 1/8. Okay. And we're going to need these in a minute. So let's go ahead and bring in our Simply Scored tool. Okay, we're going to start on the 5 1/8 inch side. And by the way, you can get 4 of these little boxes out of one sheet of cardstock. So we're going to score this on the 5 1/8 inch side. We're going to score at 1 inch, 2 3/8, and that's 1 2 3/8. Okay, past the 2. And then we're going to score at 3 3/8. So we're going to do that again. Here's the quarter. Here's the 3/8. And then we'll score at 4 3/4. Rotate clockwise. We're going to score at 1, 2 3/4, and 3 3/4. Okay, and there's our little box. All right. So let's fold and burnish on all of our score lines. Thank you, Cynthia. So glad you liked that card. Appreciate the kind words. Hope everybody has good plans for Thanksgiving and they'll be with family and or friends. Ours is going to be a very quiet Thanksgiving. Okay, so this piece right here that has this, this is the 3/8 inch piece. You want that here on the right. This 1/2 inch slot we'll put at the bottom to start. I'm going to switch this over here, and I'm going to take this longest piece right here from the inside the second score line, and I'm going to angle cut that right at that score line, just like that. This is going to be our glue tab. And then I'm going to remove this rectangle. I'm going to do the same thing over here, a little angle cut, rotate that, and remove this long, skinny rectangle that has 2 score lines. Okay, so now we have this. Now this is the top of our box, even though what you're looking at might look like the bottom. This is the top and this is the bottom. So I'm going to take and I'm going to cut up On this particular score line next to the tab, I'm cutting up on to the left of this score line, this first one, okay? And the reason that I'm doing that is because I'm going to cut to the right of this score line here, the second score line in, and I'm going to remove that whole section. I don't need that, okay? Then I'm going to go to my next score line, and I'm going to cut to the left, just cutting at the edge of that score line. I'm going to do the same thing on this piece, but this time I'm going to the right of the score line. This will make for a cleaner top. This is going to be our tuck tab, our top with our tuck tab, okay? Now I'm going to rotate this 180 degrees, and I'm going to cut up on all four of these score lines. I'm going to cut to the left of this score line on the right. I'm going to cut to the right of the score line here. I'm going to cut to the left of this score line. Okay. And that's because these are going to be our our bottom tabs, glue tabs here and here. That's why we're leaving these with no scores here. Okay. And then I want to shorten these scores because if I don't, it's going to get bulky and they're going to overlap when I fold them in. Okay. So for that, I'm actually going to bring in my trimmer. You can free cut this if you want to, hand cut it. I'm just going to fold up the large rectangles. I'm going to fold this flat so that I get a nice flat edge at the top. I'm going to line this up with the second mark here, which gives me a 1/2 inch. And I'm going to trim that off, both of them all at once. And now I've got one long and two short. I'm going to rotate this around. Again, I'm going to fold in the large tab. I'm going to place this line up against that 1/2 inch mark again, keeping my flat edge at the top of my tool. And I'm going to cut those off. Okay. So this is what we have so far. Now we're going to do a little trimming and our box will be ready to put together. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fold these two tabs, the longer, bigger ones, and then I'm going to angle cut and remove those score lines. Okay, that will just give me a cleaner finish to my box, makes it look a little more professional, and allows the box to fold together nicely. Then I'm going to rotate 180 degrees, and I'm going to do the same thing over here with these two tabs. Okay, these two, because this is the top of our box, are really critical. If you don't have those, there's no way this will fold in. Okay, so our next step is we need to round the corners of our top. So I'm going to take a retired corner rounder. You can use whatever corner rounder you have on hand. You could also just round these with your scissors if you're good at that. Some people are, some people aren't. Then I'm going to take a 1/2 inch circle punch, and on this piece where we cut off the flap, I'm just going to eyeball this and center it between the two score lines here and here. And then I'm just going to put that in there for a finger notch so that the recipient knows where to open this box set. Okay. Oh, thanks, Tracy. I'm glad you like them. Okay, so I'm going to take some tear and tape, and on this short skinny tab that we made, the glue tab, I'm going to put on the outside of the box, this is the outside, I'm going to add a little piece of tear and tape here. Okay, then I'm going to flip this over, and on this piece that has the tallest section, that's going to be the front of our box, we're going to put a little piece of tear and tape there. Okay, that'll glue our bottom together. Now we can remove the backing from our box. We're going to flip this over. I'm going to fold on the second score line. Here's one score line, two score line. on the left, and I'm going to fold on the first score line on the right, and when I fold these over, they should meet perfectly. Then I'm just going to give them a nice burnish with my bone folder. I'm going to fold in my 2 side tabs, fold in my top tuck tab, and then I'm going to remove the backing on my front piece here. I'm going to take a little bit of liquid glue here, and on these side tabs, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue so that they will stick down and stay flat inside. And then I'm going to bring the back up, square that up, and bring the front back over. And then I can open this up, and I'll take your pick tool, and I'll just burnish that in. Okay. Now, what fits in this box? All right. Well, let's talk about that. I got some of these Andes cream de mints, and you can put 5 of these in, just like so. So we're leaning and 5 is not fitting. What is up? Come on. I'll put 5 of you in the other ones. There we go. So you can fit 5 of those. You can also fit, oh, this is the one that has Andes in it, 2 of the Reese's Nutcrackers. And that's all I've tried in it at this point. Now I'm sure you could fit a couple of nuggets in there. Hershey's Nuggets. Definitely some Hershey's Kisses. But this is what I've tried so far. Okay, so our box is now ready. Let's decorate it. Okay. We're going to set this totally aside, and we're going to bring in our pieces, because we're going to totally assemble this before we put it to the box. Okay, so we're going to start with our pebbled path piece that we cut. I'm going to put this piece has a little section at the bottom that doesn't have any embossing, so I'm going to put that at the bottom. I'm going to take my fireplace surround piece, and before I add this, I'm going to take my dark pebbled path Stampin' Blend. I'm going to just take the brush tip, and I'm going to brush on some color. Because I'm putting pebbled path on pebbled path, I wanted this to stick out just a little bit, to give it a little bit of depth and dimension. So I'm just adding pebbled path to my die cut. And then you'll see when I put these 2 together, you can tell the difference in color so that they don't just meld into each other. So I'm going to take a little bit of liquid glue here, and I'm not going to put any glue on the ends because, as you can see, those ends are going to stick out just a little bit, like one brick. So I'm just going to put some liquid glue in the center of that. We'll run this around here like so. Okay. And then I'm going to place that at the bottom and center it as best I can. I need to make sure that that sits flat, so I'm going to pick it up and make sure that those are even, because this is going to sit right against the bottom of our box. Okay, so we'll give that a good press. Now here is that piece that cut out when I cut this piece. Okay, so I'm going to put this in here because I don't want the back of my chimney to look like that. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. That's why I told you you would want to save that. You could leave yours the way it is if you like. I wanted to close mine up, so I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to take those 2 pieces of the mantle. I've got the one in the pecan pie cardstock and the one in the joy of Christmas. And I am just going to put a little bit of glue on here and put this down. You do not want to get carried away with the glue on these because there are holes and your glue will mush out. So remember, with the liquid glue, if you can see it, it's enough. Okay? And one way to avoid it squishing out is to put your glue on and let it dry till it's almost clear, and then you won't have to worry about it. So now we've got those two pieces together. We're going to add this to the top of our chimney, and I'm just going to put just the tiniest bit of glue here along the bottom. Okay, so just a bit. I don't want a lot. I want this to just go right at the top here. Okay, so I'm going to put this down here like so. And I'm going to double check that before I totally press it in. I'm going to take my stockings because I want to make sure they don't hang down too far, and I'm good. So I'm going to give that a good press in. Okay, now our fireplace is almost done, but it needs a fire, right? So let's take our two little pieces of white. Now you could die cut this particular die twice, and let me grab that die back out so I can show you. You could cut this die twice, once in orange and once in yellow, but I wanted to have a little bit of depth and dimension to my fire. So I'm going to bring these over on my scratch paper. And I'm going to bring in some Stampin' Blends. I'm going to start with my dark pumpkin pie. I'm going to take my brush tip and I'm just going to flick up some color here. Okay. And then you could use Dark Daffodil Delight. I actually have Dark Mango Melody from that. This is a retired color. So if you don't have this one on hand, use the Dark Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to take and mix this color right here along the bottom. Okay. And I'm actually going to go back with my bullet tip and swirl that in so it doesn't have such a profound break. Okay, so I've got that. Now I'm going to come back with the brush tip again on this one. You can, again, Dark Daffodil Delight if you don't have the Mango Melody. And I'm just going to hit the top of these. This big pointy part goes at the bottom of your fire flame. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to come in with the light Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to use the brush tip, and mine's going to pop out. That's not good. Put that back together. And there we go, and make sure that that's nice and tight. That's how to fix those if they come undone. And it works great until the case breaks. And again, I'm just going to mix those two pieces together so that I don't have a profound line. Okay. Now, while I've got this going, I'm going to go ahead and set this up here. And I'm going to grab my Wink of Stella. And I'm going to put some Wink of Stella just on the tips of my flames. Okay, I'm going to let that dry for a minute. While that's drying, let's set those over there. And then let's go ahead, we're going to grab our stockings. And I had the full crumb cake stocking. If you don't have a piece that will fit the whole thing, you don't need it. Really, all you need is this, okay? If you have the full stocking, behind it, then you have to really line it up. And so I didn't want to have to spend that much time worrying about what sticks out at the bottom. So I cut mine off. Okay, so I'm going to take these and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the top of each stocking here. I don't need a ton. Okay. And then one by one, I'm going to cut off my stocking from the string. And I'm going to add that to my rope. Okay. And I'm doing it one by one because each one is just a tiny bit different. And if you mix them up, they don't fit perfectly. So this was my solution to making them fit perfectly. If I know I have the same stocking, then I know I'm good. Okay. This one's trying to be a little bit stubborn. So let's snip this off. Now, like I said, you don't have to do this step if you want to just put your stockings down with the red string, or if you want to use green string or whatever, you do it your way. Okay, if you're making 20 of them like I am, or 16, you might want to not do this, but I'm going to do it because I think it looks super cute. So I'm going to spend the time, even though I'm sure the kids won't care. But it matters to me, so there we are. So now we have our stockings ready to hang on our chimney. Okay, so I'm just going to take again this fine tip glue bottle I couldn't live without. And I'm going to add just a tiny little bit of glue here and here. Okay, I'm going to hang this down end to end of my mantle here and give that a press. Okay, and the last thing for these stockings, remember this little brick piece I said you should cut in white? Well, this can be bricks or it can be stocking tops. So I've already pre-cut those. It's one die, but it cuts 6. You only need 4 for this application. But we're going to take our Take Your Pick tool. And again, I'm going to put just a little bit of glue at the top of each stocking here. And then I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool. And I'm going to grab a stocking top. And I'll put that on. And another stocking top. And put that on. And let's grab another one, turn it right side up. And there we go. And finally one more. If you pay attention, there are a little bit of details at the top of these. I don't think it matters, but I'm putting the detail at the top just so it looks like a little curve in the stocking. Okay, so we've got that together. Now let's go ahead and add some Wink of Stella. I knew you knew I was going to do that to the top of our stockings. And finally, we need to put our fireplace together, or fire together. So we're going to grab our sticks. Now you get the logs come in 2 pieces. I'm only using the double log piece. I'm not using that second one. Okay, now here I'm just going to take, I've already got that on my Take Your Pick tool. Put a little bit of glue on there. Remember, if you can see it, it's enough. That way it's not squishing everywhere. Put that on. Then I'm going to add this piece, this small fire piece, to the larger fire piece, and I'm going to put the larger dip on that small piece right in the center. Line those edges up. Press that down. Okay. So now I've got that together. And now I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the bottom. Actually, hang on. I need a glue dot. Because while that bottom is going to sit on the, let's just do this. I'm going to put the glue dot. I want this to stand up a bit. So I'm actually going to glue dot that. And because I've already put glue on there, I'm doing my glue dots this way. Okay. And then we're just going to add this, like so, right there. Okay, now we have the cutest fireplace. And this piece is now ready to add to our box. So we're going to take our box and I'm going to put the piece that has the finger tab in the back. And let's move these things out of the way. And then we're just going to take some liquid glue and on the front of this piece. This box is designed to fit this fireplace. So I can just put my glue like that. Then I'm going to set my fireplace down at the edge, put it on my desk, and the sides will fit perfectly, side to side. So if you line this up, squish these, put this piece flat against the bottom, get your sides, your fireplace will be lined up perfectly. The front is designed to stick out just a tiny little bit, so you have just a little lip there, so that your box doesn't stick up over the top of the fireplace. And there we have it. Your little St. Nicholas fireplace treat box. All right. I hope you enjoyed that. And if you need a cute little treat, be sure to give this one a try. Saturday, the template will be on my blog, along with all the supplies and measurements. So there's the little template if you wanted to take a screenshot. And there's our little box. Oh, Tracy, you're just too kind. I actually thought about adding, this die set has little sprigs of boughs you could put there, but I thought it might get a little bit, for the kiddos, if I were making these for adults, I would probably put the boughs up there. But for kids, I decided I just wasn't going to do it. But you could easily take and cut some greenery and stick that across the top. In fact, I might do that. What time is it? 7:50? Let's grab some, give me a color, a green color you think would look good. And let's just throw some of these on there. Okay, we'll just grab the mini cut and emboss, some cardstock, cut those out and see what we think. Shaded spruce, that sounds terrific. Let's grab a scrap of shaded spruce. We won't need much. This piece should be plenty. We'll cut them all out at once. throw these on here. Let's see how many of these there actually are in the die set. Those 4. Okay, let's open up the mini here. I just didn't get to this part. I made 16 of these boxes. I don't have them all decorated, but I did make the boxes. They have to be done by next week. And truly for the kids, I thought, oh, this would be a lot of effort. That they'll probably just throw them away, so. Okay, let's put those away. Let's put those in my little magnetic tray here so they don't disappear. Got those out. One more. Okay. And if these get stuck on your plates like this, I just take my take your pick tool and slide them off. All right, let's bring that box back in. Bring these in. Oh yeah, I like it. No, I almost feel like this one needs to lose a leaf. What do you think? Let's go ahead and put these ones down. Come on, a little bit. Oh, hang on. I got a little glue booger in there, I guess. Put this. Oh, now I got a bubble. There we go. Okay, let's stick this on here like so. Come on. All right, there we go. Now let's put another little one over here. Like this. And if you did this, you probably wouldn't need to change the color of the string. Okay. Do that. Like so. And I'm going to lose this leaf right here. Just going to snip that off. And put that just like that. Okay, now let's finish that off the proper way, of course, because if you're going to put holly up there, you really have to have some berries, don't you think? Let's put a little berry. Uh-oh. That lifted the whole thing off. Okay. All right. Now what do you think? Even better. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. There's a couple without I'm going to have to go back and add. I'm going to have to go back and add those because that's just too cute that way. All right, you guys. That is it for me this week. I will be back next week with 2 more projects. Not sure what it'll be yet, but we'll be here same time, same channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Here's our projects for tonight. Maybe an extra look with the St. Nicholas bundle. This one, you wouldn't even know came from a St. Nicholas bundle. All right, everybody. Makes me want to turn on the Christmas music and have some hot cocoa. Yes, I've done my job then. All right. Have a good night. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and I will see you soon. Good night.